is the still living skinned body of her mother dumped in front of her. Bon appetit. Eat. As a juxtaposition, well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this brand new day in which my anxiety is maxed out. It is 6:30 a.m. I don't know if it's Pacific Standard or Pacific Daylight or what we've decided on, but it's 6:30 a.m. in the Pacific Northwest, and I have an appointment at 10 a.m. at the Veterans Administration. So I am, of course, stressed out. It is a change in routine, and with my neurotypical brain, I do not deal with changes in routine and habit very well. So I am anxious, and at 8:30 I'm going to be picked up and driven to my appointment, and that's good, and then I'll come back and that'll be good too, so definitely a thumbs up. But for right now, I am a mess of anxiety. Yay. Anyway, though, front-loading the videos, hey, if you could toss me a like, that'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't, that too would be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, that would be very cool. Very double plus good. And, of course, after I cough, I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful and literally awesome human beings are, in fact, as stated, literally beautiful and literally awesome. Without their help, I and my pets would be literally hosed like Christmas monkeys. And trust me, that is not a good way to get hosed. So I've forgotten how long I should keep my hands in the air. Hopefully I didn't keep them up too long or take them down too early. Thumbs up. But thank you, each and every one of you. And if you'd like to become a patron, there are links in the video description. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, there are links to a PayPal. And if you'd like to help me out without sending in money at all, there are links to an Amazon wish list with stuff like cat food on it. So thumbs up like on that. And front loading of videos over there. Yay! Oh, gotta love that. So yeah, I am just a wreck, and that's fine. It's life. I went on my walkies as normal yesterday. I read? I didn't read anything. I watched videos. I listened to music. I had some falling asleep issues. So obviously I ate something with gluten in it because gluten knocks me out. And my gut has been not happy this morning. I've had pain and bloating and gas and so I ate something with gluten in it without even realizing it. But just like with corn, wheat is in a ton of stuff. They make sugar out of some wheat, and so you'll find little things on packages of food that say, hey, this stuff might have wheat in it. So joy, but life is life. So I am alive, and at least that's good. So definitely a thumbs up on that. As stated, very anxious, but that's okay. I'm trying to remember the one thing I was just thinking of that I wanted to talk about. I had come up with the thought while I was talking, hoping I could keep it in mind to bring it up, and now I can't. It's fun having ADHD. My head has never been in a good place, and now that I'm aware of it, I can see it happening. It's, life is life. Still though, I am going to be going to this appointment. It's primarily about, like heart issues and blood pressure, but I need to talk about this pain in my back. It's still there, and I don't know if it's muscle and a knot in my back or if it's something worse. My kidneys, I haven't been happy with those since couple months now, since I started taking Strattera, and things changed in my body, and I'm already on a danger slide with my kidneys, so I can't afford to have them go south and not know about it. So I'm worried, but such is life. Now, I can't remember a lot of the things that I was going to talk, in fact, any, so I'm just going to have to talk about, well, I don't have to, I choose to, various creative subjects because my head is a mess right now. One of the things that happened yesterday, I ran across one of my favorite songs again. I really like the group Devo. I grew up listening to the group Devo. And their first album in high school, well, their first studio released album, Devo, Are We Not Men? And then just from then on, I have loved their stuff. One of their songs that I was reintroduced to after decades was the song Going Under off of like Duty Now for the Future, their album. I can't remember which one exactly. But it is a very slow, kind of depressing song. And from the write-up about it, it's like they used it in like a Law and Order thing decades back or whatever, some kind of law thing, and which makes sense then that it would be more of a slower and more depressing kind of thing because it's for a crime thing on television. But all Devo songs and all songs are open for interpretation. But it appears to be, I mean, the guy's talking about mutation, going through softcore mutation, going through self-experimentation, so there's all this Devo stuff added to it, but it's about a person who's discovered a something, a place, and they can't stop going there. Dreams are crushed, people do things to themselves, but he can't stop going there, and he's going under. And that's the song. It's all about, I'm going under. And you can tell from the song that the person is never, ever, ever going to come back up for air. So it's kind of depressing that way. Now, that's just my interpretation, but if you take a look at it, yeah. I mean, you may come up with a different one, but hopefully you can see mine, even if you don't say that's what it's about. But tying this all into the various things that I've been thinking about, especially with my cryptid stuff, well, what if, taking inspiration from the song, I just take as part of the short slice of life stuff where a person whose cryptid vision has clicked on enough of their extra universal chromosomes and their extra universal genes have expressed that their vision is now working and they can see cryptid stuff. And the world feels different. And they're feeling different. And they're thinking differently. And they can't figure things out. Something changed. And as they wander through town, there is a spot in town that's bad. People don't like to go there. It's got the mountainous area, but there's a hill, an abandoned mansion. It has been decades since anyone has owned the place. It has fallen into ruin. It has bad reputation. Bad things happen there. People die, and worse. It's mostly bad people doing these things, but it has the reputation, it draws in things. And with him now wandering through town, and of course I've got to add this because I forgot, because I'm anxious and I can't say things well, not that I can in the first place anyway, but when you have, cryptid sense. Everybody has a cryptid sense, just like with the sight, with the other part of my vision. And even though it doesn't work this way, if you try to think about it as everyone having like a 0 to 100, if you have 0 to 50 cryptid vision, you cannot visually or in any way interact with cryptid stuff. But the higher your cryptid vision, below 50, the closer it gets to 50, the more you feel the dread, the creepiness, the eeriness, it's oppressive and terrible here. Most people who get that, that's what they're feeling. There is just something about cryptid stuff that just really makes you go, ooh, and you see things, and you feel bad, and you hear things. Bad spots on Earth that we talk about right now. But when your cryptid vision clicks to this, then you get to see what's really there. And all of that, feeling goes away. Which, if you're going to have your cryptid vision expressed, you don't feel. You understand why people wouldn't like it, but it doesn't cause dread, fear, terror, and horror in you. In fact, you kind of crave that feeling because it's not bad. And then when you finally express and boop, you're over there, then you can see and interact with everything that's cryptid. And the higher your cryptid vision is a score, which doesn't happen, but metaphorically, the more you can see and interact with. And so this person wandering through town and getting to this place, it's kind of feeling like you're on some recreational pharmaceutical for the first time. And he's wandering around feeling like that. And the abandoned house in this big, huge lot of land that everyone avoids, well, there's a big old road leading up to it. And the place isn't abandoned. It's like a lounge. You go up there, there's lights, there's people. Now, the people don't look like people, but it doesn't really click that, these aren't people. It's something that you see and you notice, and, well, when I say you see and you notice, I'm talking about the reactions of the person who is just wandering up there with a very high cryptid sight on their very first day, with never having realized that any of this was possible, and just feeling dreamlike, wandering in and finding like a bar and talking to someone about this, and being told, welcome to the world. And since they crave it, they too are going to go under. Will they ever come back up for air? Don't know. But now that their cryptid sense is going, their cryptid vision, they could sink into this entirely without actually being a cryptid, because they crave it. They need it. The higher your cryptid vision, the more you need to be involved with cryptid stuff. Just like with the sight and the whole inside-outside. The higher your sense of sight, the more you crave. If you have a really intense sense of sight, if you're born out here on the outside, you need it so much you will travel to the razor's edge. You will travel to the inside, and you will keep going deeper inside because you need it that much. So there's that fellow, and I'm going to be working and thinking about this because that's the idea. That's what came up with my creativity chewing through things. I'm not going to push it or I'll ruin it. Right now, I'm just shoving it out there with those ideas and see what it grinds out through the mind. So thumbs up on that. Past that, also, here's something that's really grim. And if you've watched this far, again, thank you so very much. It is appreciated. This is kind of horrific, and yet at the same time, it's what I came up with because I thought it's funny in a very horrific fashion. I mentioned yesterday that there are cryptids that will do things like kidnap, torture, kill, eat. There are overlaps. Those that kidnap, well, they may torture, kill, and eat. But they're different categories of bad cryptid. You take a look over here on my list, and one of the cryptids that I'd had yesterday was a cryptid talking about how they kill, but they don't do past that. They don't torture, they don't eat, they don't do all these horrible things. They will kidnap you and then keep you until they're ready to kill, but they won't torture. So they say, and in their mind they don't. But as a quick movie type shot, you've got the one cryptid fellow who says, I kidnap, I hold my people, but I keep them safe until I am ready. I provide them with shelter, I even provide them with food. Quick cutaway. The camera is on the floor of a cage with bars. In the far corner of the cage where the camera is aimed, there is a young girl screaming, terrified, covered in blood and other bodily fluids, trying her best to push herself through the bars as she's screaming. And then, from the knees down in the sight of the vision, 2 feet with hairy legs, so probably a guy. They'll thump, thump. They're naked, bloody, and then as the girl is still screaming, this skinned human body is dumped with a wet thud splash onto the ground in front of this screaming young girl. And as she's screaming further, trying to get further away, the head of this poor skinned person turns and says the name of the girl and how much it hurts. And then as the girl stops screaming, she goes, "Mom, Mom, Mom!" And then trying to hold her, but she has no skin, so everything hurts. And then I'm debating whether or not to have the male voice say, "Bon appetit," and then have the feet leave the screen. Then it would cut back to the normal scene if this were a movie. This strikes me as a funny cutaway where he's providing food to a kidnapped 9-year-old girl, where her food that she is supposed to eat for however many days is the still living skinned body of her mother dumped in front of her. Bon appetit. Eat. As a juxtaposition, that strikes me as funny. As a horrible thing that's happening, showing that one person's vision of torture can be completely different from another. No, that's not funny at all. That's horrific. That's one of the most horrific things that I have accidentally come up with in a long time. And it's a funny cutaway. Ah. Now, of course, over here on my list, there is still, I wanted to talk about, I finally kind of came up with a name and idea for the one fellow who befriends the squirrel that's a meat eater that tried to kill him. Little Gotso the squirrel. I'm closer to coming up with the full idea of what this fellow is. The fellow's a himbo. He's big, not overly so. He's got muscles, but he doesn't train, so he's not too super bulky. But the sleeves torn off of the t-shirt type with the flowing, almost shoulder-length hair. He's uncomplicated, not stupid, just uncomplicated. Doesn't do a lot of reading, watches TV a lot, and has Gotso the squirrel that sits on his shoulder or whatever, and he takes Gotso the squirrel with him everywhere. He's Brock. I'm not quite sure what his last name would be, but he's Brock. He's just a himbo. He's a good guy, uncomplicated, great to have on your side, and nice to look at. So thumbs up on that. And of course, he's going to be one of the very, very few survivors of the whole rampage of the kaiju. Which, as a quick aside, I'd mentioned that they make toys for kids that are of the kaiju. I just think it would be interesting because, hey, it's normalized in Apple Rock. You've got your kid at the end of your hand and they're going, oh, kaiju, and pointing to the toy of the kaiju they want. So thumbs up on that. And of course, I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count American Sign Language, well. So let me call up my crew. We have Jesse Koskinen. Always good to see you in the comments. And I hope you stick with us for a very long time. There's the Horror Files. Thank you very much and good to see you as well. There's Unbearable Suffering. Thumbs up, and oh my gosh, that would have been frustrating. There is an Insignificant Nick. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be alive as well. It's Psycho Jazz. Thumbs up. Hopefully you'll stick around. JAYY. Thumbs up. Good to see you as well. And Confused Owl 29 as well. Good to see you as well. That's a lot of as wells. But then we have Stephen Blanchard. Thumbs up and thank you. And hopefully I'll be able to explain what the Oblivion sigil stones do on another day. But they're cool. There is Adrian. Thumbs up and thank you. I had a lot of fun editing the Oblivion video. And that is, well, aside from Ice Damon, thumbs up and thank you. 10 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours to get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people. If only in text, and if only for a short time. Thumbs up and thank you. Well, I am in a tizzy, anxious, and getting more so all the time. So hopefully your day is going to be good. I'm just going to get this appointment done and then come back and try and de-stress from all of it. Thumbs up on that. And of course, with all these diseases and pandemics out there, just be smart, take appropriate precautions. In the case of the Covfefe bug, please get vaxxed. Please get your booster. Wear your mask when you're around others. Just don't throw your body or anyone else's body onto the end-of-life corpse pile before you have to. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is a very good thing.